another episode of Law and People. In each episode of Law and People, we discuss on the various legal issues concerning common people. Today, we are going to discuss on a topic, safeguarding the rights of consumers. And for that, we have invited three eminent personalities from different backgrounds. I have with me Vibhas Pathak, advocate of the Guwahati High Court. Then we have got Anuradha Gaya. She is a consumer activist working in the different parts of the Northeast. Then we have got Surajit Datta, advocate of the Guwahati High Court. So we start out this topic with Vibhas Pathak to throw some light about the historical perspective of the consumer rights in India.
Well, the history of consumer rights is almost as old as the history of trade and commerce itself. The moment people started transacting business and started transacting on goods, certain rights and issues have developed. Let's say in ancient Indian law, we find references to certain offenses that were created, say surging of excessive price, tempering of weights and measures, adulteration of food, and selling of prohibited substances were considered to be offenses in ancient Indian law.
Correct. Anuradha?
Yes, the concept consumer has been used from the ancient period, and when there is no shops and there is no and then give and take method is there, at that time the consumer, the concept consumer is there. Then when from the morning when we use the brush to the bed, in all cases the consumer, the terms consumer is related.
Correct. So Surajit, would you like to?
I would say the field is of diverse potential here.
Correct.
The concept of consumer is directly related to the goods that one buys or the services that one hires. And in the present day context, after coming of this 1986 Act, Consumer Protection Act, the dimension has become much widened. What previously used to be understood only a buyer-seller relationship, now that has also undergone some changes. Like in our day-to-day activities, we not only buy products, we also hire services. Like you buy plane air tickets, you buy insurance policies, you hire services from banks. So these are the various fields which are being now taken care of under this particular act.
Okay. My question is to Vibhas Pathak. This is something very different. Who is not a consumer? You throw a light on that.
As we had not exactly gone into the definition of consumer yet, but then still I would like to highlight that a person who is taking a service for free, or some service or some product has been bought for commercial use, those persons will be excluded from the category of a consumer.
Surajit, you tell us, who is a consumer?
The consumer would be a person, individual, whoever buys some products or hires some services against a valuable consideration, and the object is not for commercial use. Like I can cite you an example that in today's context, you go to purchase flats, residential flats, you go to purchase medicines, or you go to purchase various other types of goods, you hire medical services, you hire insurance services, banking. So whoever gets involved in these kind of activities with the other person rendering the services or selling the product, he becomes a consumer.
Okay. Since this consumer, there's one identity each one of us share, and that is on as a consumer. Because all of us, we need something depending on what type of our requirement is. So this question is to Anuradha. You are doing a lot of good work in the Northeast. You as a consumer activist, what do you feel a consumer should be aware of at the minimum level?
The consumer should be aware whatever they use in day-to-day activities, they know their quality, quantity and the price. And they should not give that excess price for their that they have used in their day-to-day activities. Price is the important, and quality is also important.
Quality is also important.
They should know the quality of the product.
Okay. Quantity is also there?
Quantity is also there. Quantity is also important.
Okay.
They should not give the less than whatever they purchase. Quantity also.
Who can file a complaint? This question is to Vibhas.
Any aggrieved person who has been defined as a consumer, who has availed any service or purchased any good or product, and he is not satisfied with the service or that product, can lodge a complaint under the consumer protection law, seek certain remedies that are available to him.
So when can this be filed?
So the consumer complaint.
Yeah.
After the person buys or hires a product and he comes to realize that there has been some deficiency in the product sold or the services rendered, immediately he can file a complaint before the Consumer Protection Forum.
It has to be in written?
Yes, Consumer Protection Forum accepts complaints in written form and it has to be filed.
Was the year when the Consumer Protection Act was, the beginning was made, the foundation laid. But since then, it has been a long journey. There were one or two amendments, but the recent one, that is in 2018 amendments, there are a lot of changes. But before we go into this and continue our discussion, I would like to ask a question to Vikas Pathak. What are the main, things a consumer should be aware of as a common man?
Well, there are certain rights that are available to the consumers. Yeah. And firstly, safety is an issue. The safety of the products and the services they have hired, they should be aware of, and the safety should be the primary concern. And then there are issues like...
They should be well informed.
Yes.
What the product is all about. The features of the product is very important.
Yes, it has to be explained, and clear disclosure about the features of the product has to be made, and the consumer also has to be aware and study the features that are there in the product.
So besides that, there are other rights also, like right to choose.
Yes.
It's not that whatever is available in the market, you are just going to put.
Everybody has right to choose, and they have to give the at a reasonable price, not that exceed price, and they have the choose from the varieties of the goods and that type of thing. From the only they have give this one and they have to this one. Take
But
this
see, we live in a modern age where all products, all manufacturers, they are backed by the advertisements, publicity, and displays. So it is not that easy for the consumer to go and just go in, because so many offers are there. So in that case, suppose you go like the first part you said, the right to choose. You went and purchased something. According to you, that was the best product.
Yes.
But we come to know whether the product is good or not only after using it.
Yes.
Okay, they said this is a particular duration, guaranteed periods and all. But we come to know the story is something else. There is something different altogether.
From that, yes.
So the second part of it, that is whatever right to be heard.
Yes.
When something goes wrong, then in that case, what a consumer should do, Surajit?
His choices, of course, since he is a choice of
right
buying,
to be heard is also one of the
right to be heard is also one of the areas, and particularly as you have said that the branding or the advertisement aspect, this is another area where the present the new legislation, which is on the offing, the amendment bill of 2018, that seeks to address that particular area of concern. Because often we find that on advertisement you get to understand something of a particular variety, particular kind, but ultimately when you buy the product, you find that an entirely different or substandard product has been sold to you.
Okay, now back to Pathak.
Yes.
Right to redressal.
Yes.
Okay, something goes wrong, no problem. But what is the remedy?
The remedy, of course, before the Consumer Protection Act, we had a remedy in civil law to go to a civil
How do
court.
we start?
And after the coming of the Consumer Protection Act, we have different forums that have been set up within the Act itself. So if a person as of now has availed any service or purchased any good up to the limit of rupees 20 lakhs, he can approach the district forum. There is a primary forum in which he can file a complaint and seek remedy.
Okay.
And if the value of the goods are above 20 lakhs and below 1 crores, he can approach the state commission. And then beyond that, there is a national commission which hears the original complaints relating to goods or services which are priced above 1 crore. And above that, there is an appellate forum in the Honorable Supreme Court of India, where all appeals can be taken.
Okay. Anuradha, you have been doing a lot of work as far as consumer awareness is concerned. Now, consumer awareness is also one of the very important and one of the most significant rights under this Consumer Protection Act. So, can you throw some light on that? What sort of awareness you do, and you think people, because it's not possible even for the most learned people, because there are so many technicalities in a product. It's not that easy.
Yes, sir.
So,
Everybody is aware of their whatever they get from that market or whatever their quality, quantity, and so on. I want to.
my question is that people has to come and participate.
Yeah.
I want to know this,
Yes.
how it is.
And for that, the consumer council is there, and authority, consumer authority is also there. They can come to the consumer council, and their main object to protect the consumer from that the illegal trade and unfair trade for that.
Okay.
And that is the main part of the consumer council.
It means the manufacturer or the seller, they should be aware of it, that if there something goes wrong, there's a remedy for that.
Yeah, there is also liability of the
they are liable.
supplier. They are also liable for giving the unfair product and that type of thing.
This question to Surajit. Consumer education is also one of the top priority.
Yes. That is very important, because most of the times what we find in our professional life and also in our day-to-day life, that we don't insist on receipts against the products that we purchase or the services that we have. Now, proof of purchase or the proof of sale, if you look at it from the other angle.
Like when we go for a medicine, normal day-to-day product
Yes,
you buy, one of them
just-
is medicines.
Yes, we just buy over the counter.
Cash memo.
And yes, cash memo we don't insist for. But then this is again a very essential.
When it comes to litigation.
Yes, this is a very essential area where it comes to litigation, because to pin down the person from whom you have bought it, or to seek a remedy against that particular person, because your intermediate connection is to the person from whom you have bought. Although the product is sold under the brand or manufacturer's label, but then it is the person from whom you have bought as an intermediate buyer.
Correct.
This connection needs to be established.
So this question is to Anuradha. Is there a lawyer has to be there to file a complaint in a consumer court?
No, there is no need of lawyer to complain the file before the consumer court. A person can complain, can register the complaint, represent himself or by authorized person also.
Okay.
Therefore, that lawyer is not necessary.
Okay. My next question is to Pathak. Considering the present scenario of consumer activities, a lot of people are playing some positive role for some productive possibilities as far as awareness of consumer. But in spite of all that, so many things goes wrong. In that case, what a consumer should do? There is a law.
Yes.
There are a lot of awareness. There is a consumer education also going on. But still, the challenge, to really get what you want in a proper way is still deprive a lot of people.
Yes, it's true. Even though the Act has come, and we have seen a lot of NGOs and voluntary organizations being very active in the field of creating awareness, some deficiencies are still there. The system needs to be revisited and revamped properly.
It should be two-way.
Yes,
Two-way. The consumer also has to participate.
Consumer has to participate,
And the consumer activist also has to play a real positive role.
Yes.
Surajit, how can you file a complaint in a consumer court? From where do you start?
As Bivas has just now indicated on the valuation, and depending on the valuation of the claim, it can be filed either before the district forum or the state commission or the national commission, as the case may be.
The complaint has to file in a plain paper and a stamp paper like that, technical?
No.
It's very simple.
Very simple. It can be filed in a plain paper before the forum.
What are the things should be there in the complaint?
Usually, just now I indicated, that the proof of purchase and the product description and the kind of deficiencies that has been noticed or that has been brought to the notice of the seller, that I got this product, I got this kind of deficient service.
Unlike other litigation, what about the fees? Are very high or nominal?
No, these are on very nominal fees.
People can afford.
People can afford, and most importantly, that the kind of mechanism that has been visualized under the Act is that you don't need really the assistance of a lawyer.
Many people do one mistake, filing a complaint, lapse of time.
Yes.
So on this part, Vivas part, can you throw some light? What is the time limit for filing a complaint?
Yes, there is a outer time limit of 2 years provided for in the Consumer Protection Act. But then beyond that, if you file also, if you can cite the special circumstances which had prevented you from filing, in those cases, exceptional cases, the time limit can be extended. But then it is safer normally to come within the period of 2 years from the date of purchase or from the date of deficiency of service that you have noticed.
We are living in a very modern world, a world which is, bombarded with so many products, with so many features. I'm talking about online, availability of products. Now this is a very big challenge, and we have to accept it, and we have to take this challenge as a challenge. So I would like Surajit to throw some light on that. What are the challenges for a consumer?
The challenges are like often a consumer.
So many facilities, but
Yes.
at the same time there
But
are.
at times, most of the times, I would rather say, except for because as the
Starting
horizon
the
is
banking
expanding.
sector.
Yes, the chances of getting deceived is much higher now in comparison to others, because particularly e-commerce you don't visually get to see the product.
Physically you don't see the
Physically
person.
you don't see. You only given a pictorial representation of the product that you are choosing to buy. Now after you buy and after you realize that there is a deficiency, now it becomes a challenge for the consumer also to litigate on the issue, to get hold of the seller, because most of the times the sales are taking place through third-party sellers. The e-commerce site, they don't directly get involved into the sale. They are only facilitators for some third-party sellers. So these are the areas where a challenge there is really a challenge. But then at the same time, the consumer has to be aware. I would rather say that before choosing to get into a transaction of this kind, one has to have the minimum scope of verifying the antecedents or the credentials of the particular site or the sellers from whom the product is being sold.
How can a consumer be protected, How do the law, provide them the safeguards or the minimum, where they can feel, this from here I can go forward.
So there is a Consumer Protection Council.
Correct.
Consumer Protection Council, which is having its existence in the district level, state level, and as well as in the national level.
Time to time they keep on changing,
Yes.
seeing the response of the people and what are the problems they face.
Yes, so there can be, if the involvement of the consumer and the council is increased.
Okay, so
So
everyone is involved.
Yes, certainly it is going to have a larger
What
impact.
is the purpose of this council, Bibash?
The council primarily seeks to suggest policies to the government regarding consumer rights and the changes in law that are required, or consumer policies that are required to be formulated. So it is basically advisory in jurisdiction.
Okay. Surajit, now we move on to something more interesting. You said e-commerce is now coming up in a big way, and now the global boundaries of where are you, which state, which nations or which country is immaterial.
Yes.
It has become a global village. But when the facilities are there, at the same time there are some problems are also.
There is
Multifaceted
risks
problems
also.
are there. And especially even the most learned people, those who are totally updated, they also don't find it's that easy, that comfortable. At some stage of their life, something goes wrong. So in that stage, it's where do this Consumer Protection Act can help these people?
Actually, these are the areas which are being sought to be taken care of by virtue of the new bill that has been introduced, the Consumer Protection Amendment Bill 2018. And
there are
I'm
11 changes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I am sure that, of course, there are changes with regard to enhancement of the limit of pecuniary jurisdiction. That is to say, the particular valuation, as the thing stands today, that you can file a complaint up to 20 lakhs before district forum. This is sought to be increased. And consequently, similar increase in pecuniary jurisdiction is also one of the areas that is sought to be addressed in the proposed bill. And thereafter, besides these, there are changes like as the e-commerce business and the business in the sense of, as you said, that we are becoming a global village. It's immaterial who is buying from where. So these are the areas where the new bill tries to focus and tries to bring in place some mechanism where the consumer's right can be protected.
Okay. You said one of them is pecuniary jurisdiction, but there's another side of it that is very, very important. Nowadays, manufacturers cannot go and tell this is my product.
Yes.
They cannot misrepresent or misguide the consumer.
Yeah, that is advertisement.
Correct.
Element of
and there's a heavy penalty for
Yes.
that in case if they do it.
Yes.
So, Vikas, throw some light on that.
Yes, false representation is always a crime. And
It was there earlier.
It was
Yes.
there.
But the penalty was not
Penalty
that
was
strong.
not there.
Yes.
Now they have increased amount. So if now the manufacturer is also very aware what do's and don't they have to follow. That is very
One thing
beautiful part.
I must add here, it's a matter of commonly experience that what do you call it? Retail branding, multi-retail branding. Now, recently there was a case. If you buy some product from these malls, often you come across in the receipt that the products once sold, these are not to be returned or exchanged.
Liability or action by the manufacturer is also one of the main features.
Yes.
Another feature.
Yes.
Correct.
So as I was just coming back to the issue that I was trying to focus, that this is one of the areas which was a matter of really concern, that a consumer buys certain product. You go home, you open the packet and you find that the product is below standard or something of that.
Okay.
That sort.
Unlike other litigations, we have got alternative, mode of, going through the,
Yes, mediation is another important aspect which is sought to be introduced in this new legislation now.
People can take advantage of that.
Yes. That through a conciliatory process, suppose X buys something from Y and there is a grievance out of this transaction. Now after
Without going to the consumer court, they can settle it.
No, the matter after being placed before the court without adjudicating it can place it before the mediation, and through a conciliatory process the settlement can be arrived. And if that fails, of course the doors of the court are open to adjudicate the issues. So mediation is another aspect of change that is sought to be introduced now.
Now, for a consumer, they may go to the consumer court, they may take what you said about the mediations and other forms of, but most important is that it is the consumer who has to be all the time updated, all the time aware of it, and most important is that what way that this safeguards, this Consumer Protection Bill 2018, which is going to come up very shortly, because there are 11 changes being taken up. Now, before we wind up, it is very important, like in every issue of law people, we take a few Supreme Court judgments. So I would request all three of you to cite one judgment for the benefit of our viewers who are watching this program. Vivash?
We see that buying of property, particularly flats, is quite commonplace these days in the urban areas, and usually we find a lot of disputes in these matters where builders or the construction company is unable to deliver possession of the flats to the consumers who have already paid their money. But then possession is not given and the project is delayed indefinitely many times. So in those cases we find that the Supreme Court has consolidated the law and laid down a very clear principle that the builder or the construction company is liable, and therefore the person who had purchased the flat, if he fails to get possession or there is a delay in implementation of the project, compensation can be paid to the consumer.
Thank you. Anuradha?
Nowadays, the most important factor is that insurance, rejection of insurance policy. That rejection of insurance cannot reject the claim on technical ground.
Okay.
That is that should be interpreted liberally. Yeah, you cannot avoid. They cannot avoid, and that should be interpreted liberally for the interest of the consumer, the general public, not for the purpose.
So one more Supreme Court judgment, Surajit.
Of course, there are numerous, as Vivash has already said. But then, like the buying of properties or hiring insurance services or hiring services from hoteliers or resorts, these are also now taken care of. There are judgments of Supreme Court. Supposing X buys a service from a hotelier and he gets a deficient service for that. So he can very well take an action against the hotelier or the resort owner for that matter. And things can be resolved within the framework of the Act.
Okay, so time is running very fast, and this discussion is really, we have learned a lot of things from our panelists. And as you know, this Consumer Protection Bill 2018 amendment is really going to benefit the consumer for everyone. I cannot wind up this show without thanking all my three panelists, Vibhash Pathak, Anuradha Kiram, and Surajit Datta for participating and enlightening our viewers of OM people on the various facets of Consumer Protection Bill 2018. Till we meet next time with some other episodes. Thank you.